Man, come on. Okay, I think maybe we're live. Sorry, it's minus last week. It's been a while. I'm on a different setup, as you can see by the surroundings here. I don't know if you guys can even see me or hear me yet. I am doing my best at the moment, trying to figure out what is going on here. So, if you guys could just give me a yes or no on audio and video, that would be amazing. Um, why I chose okay there maybe. Um, okay, Glenn says hi, I can see and hear. Jason confirms I can see and hear. Awesome, thank you so much. Glad to have a few of you hanging out, waiting for me to get my shenanigans all set up here. I'm actually doing a dual screen setup for today's live stream because I plan on doing more than just talking. As we can see, that I've got this set up. Let's see. Let's go there for a few seconds. Hi, how you doing? I hope everybody's having a good weekend. I've got chat up on this screen so I can see what you guys have to say there. I've got some Reddit stuff up so we can kind of dig through. I had some ideas or some thoughts about some of the self-hosting stuff that's been going on, and wanted to get your opinion on it as well. Um, let's see. Lemon Zest says it's all good. Jason says had to reload stupid YouTube. Quiet Associations here. Wyatt is here. Mr. Red Washington is here. 1911 Dujma, I guess. 1911 says cheers. All good. Collins is here. Glad to have you all here hanging out on your Saturday afternoon or evening, depending on wherever you're located. MS7165 says hi. Well, hi. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. I don't know if you guys can hear. I've got an air conditioner running over here, and you're right. It is Sunday. My bad. It is. It's my days all kind of have been melting together lately. We'll talk about why here in a little bit. But you're right, Collins. It is Sunday. It's absolutely Sunday. But I've got an air conditioner running over here, and I don't know if that's making any noise that is screwing. Can't hear it. Don't hear the AC. Outstanding. Glad to hear that, or glad to not hear that, I guess. So anyway, the reason I thought today was Saturday instead of Sunday is that I got put on some new meds recently to help with the anxiety that I've been having for the past several weeks. It's a med that I'd been on in the past that I was kind of apprehensive about. So we're doing a very, very low dose of it just to help with the anxiety without all of the side effects. And the first few days that I was on it, I took it in the morning, and that was a bad idea because by mid-afternoon I was unconscious. I couldn't keep my eyes open, couldn't stay awake. So now it is a nighttime med, and I just started that last night, and I slept better than I have in a really long time, which was nice. So because I've been sleeping through parts of my days, all of my days have been kind of jumbled up recently. So that's why I thought it was Saturday instead of Sunday. It's because the new meds I'm on had me taking naps during the day, which I never do. I'm not a nap kind of person. I've always wanted to be a nap kind of person. There it is. I usually just don't have that opportunity. So anyway, let's see. John Whelan says I've hit a homelab, a self-hosting brick wall. Storage got super expensive. Yes, it did. Storage did get super expensive, and that sucks, man. Like that sucks a lot. That the price of everything is up these days, and unfortunately, I don't see it ending probably within the next 5 years. And I figure by that point, we'll have just grown so accustomed to it that I don't think that they will ever change their prices back to a reasonable, affordable situation like we used to have not that long ago. Dujman 1911 says, thank you for the amazing videos. Well, thank you for watching them. It's been a while since I've actually made one. I'm hoping that with the new med that will change soon. But we'll see. I've got a script written. I just need to record it. But for some reason, it's a lot easier to say that than actually do it. Last bit of kit I bought was an LLM host system with 96 gigs of RAM and 2 NVIDIA Tesla V100 32 gig cards. That's a pretty beefy setup you got there, Lemon Zest 79. That's pretty impressive. Glenn's getting ready to do some more long haul driving. I don't envy that right now, but you got to do what you got to do. Sharjil says hi. Can hear you clearly. Well, thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it. Most days are the same. Yeah. Barely even know what day it is. They just kind of run together in this job. I believe that when you're on the road a lot, I believe that. I can't imagine being on the road quite that much. What year are we at? I'm lost as can be. Being on duty 7 days a week makes you lose track of when. Wow. On call 7 days a week sucks, man. That I hope you're getting paid very well for that. There you got to be able to have some downtime because being on call 24/7 is rough. Let's see. Prices do. You're right. Prices rarely do or seldom go down. That's true. You're having it better than some 15 terabytes of NAS. Have been eyeballing 8 24 terabyte drives. It was 2,000. Now it's 5,000. Yep. Trying to rework the home lab for movies, music, and retro games. I mean, it sounds like you'll have a fun home lab once you get it built. But yeah, I know it's, but making up the difference between 2K and 5K for prices on that is a lot. So I hope you're able to figure something out because even remanufactured or refurbished drives are going almost for the same price as new drives. So that's not even much of an out these days. So that's unfortunate. That's super unfortunate. I hope you get something sorted out. Hopefully they'll go down a bit or my home lab will be SOL. Yeah, that's honestly, that's kind of where I am too. Like I've taken some things offline just to quit putting hours on them, just in case something comes up and I got to swap a drive out. I did something. I feel like I did something the other day that I wanted to talk to you guys about, but I don't remember what. I don't know. Maybe it'll come back. Oh, where you can get 8 24 terabyte drives new for 5K. And 24 terabyte drives. So that's a good question. 24 TB HDD. Well, then let's switch over to this just real quick. We'll see. Server Monkey, maybe. Let's see. We'd be dealing with how many drives? 8 of them. Yeah, you could go to Server Monkey, and 8 times that would be about $5,000 right there. If you were to go with Seagate Exos X24 24 terabyte drives from Server Monkey, it'd be about $5,000, almost exactly $5,000. Now those are refurbished. I'm pretty sure. See if that loads. It just says low hours, but I think that'd probably be the easiest way to get that kind of storage. Jason says, I'd like to redo my storage pools, but I'm too scared to touch anything and lose drives. Bro, there's so many things that I would like to reconfigure in my TrueNAS VM, but I'm just afraid I would lose everything, even though I'm pretty sure my backups are working. Actually, I haven't checked that in a while. I really should check that in a while because I've got my TrueNAS, the stuff on my TrueNAS storage backing up on the first of every month. So I really need to see if that is still working. It's been a while since I actually dug into that and have verified that that everything's working. See, John Whelan says, I try not to wear my tinfoil hat, but do you think the sudden push for self-hosting and owning your data, do you think they artificially caused a price hike to keep us on subscriptions? We actually talked about that a little bit last week. And I kind of had a similar tinfoil hat thing. So I'm inclined to agree with you to a certain point. I don't know that the self-hosting community currently is large enough to, or has enough oomph behind it to really make that much of a difference. But I think it's entirely possible that they are trying to price us out of certain aspects of it, and they're doing a really good job with all of it right now. But I think it's one thing begets another, right? Like I think the people who are manufacturing RAM, who are manufacturing it now for AI data centers, are making a ton of money, and the hard drive people want in on it, so they're going to jack up their prices, in some sort of similar way, so that it's not just one thing getting priced way out. Lemon Zest says that's exactly the reason they don't want self-hosting. They want everyone to sub to cloud services that are controlled. Yeah, that was basically what we chatted about last week, for the purpose of collecting everyone's data. But unless you're unless you're running a Google Pixel with Graphene OS on it, and not wearing a smartwatch, and you don't have a new car, and you don't have a smart TV, like they're tracking everything you're doing anyway. So there's got to be some sort of, I don't know, like there's got to be some sort of understanding that everything you're doing is being tracked as it is. You've just got to decide how much of that you're willing to sacrifice, I guess. Sorcha says I'm wearing the hat. Mindbend says hi all. Sorcha also says I get froggy about refurbished. A lot of good refurb places, like Go Hard Drive, I talk about them quite a bit in live streams. They're a reseller on eBay. Most of their stuff comes with a 5-year warranty, which is what you would get with new drives anyway. So I think you can still get a good 5-year warranty on refurb stuff if you get it from the right place. I've been very lucky so far that none of my refurb drives have died. I actually had an 8 terabyte Exos drive die on me, I think last year, that came with one of my Synology devices early on in my YouTube days. And I replaced it with a refurb, and it's been solid since then. Hey, Ethan's here. Glad to have you, man. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. Appreciate you being here. Where did it go? Every billionaire on the block wants to build a data center. They're reducing supply. I mean, and based on what I have read, based on what I have seen, none of these AI data centers are profitable yet. and I don't know when or if they ever will be. They've got these huge valuations that they're able to borrow against, um, but it kind of feels like a snake eating its own tail, right? They're just running in circles to buy new hardware so that they can keep their valuation up, so they can borrow against that valuation. It's how billionaires live tax free, right? They they've got a huge stock portfolio that they're able to take loans out against, and then they just keep borrowing and refinancing those loans over and over and over and over again. So they're never actually paying taxes on anything because they're always borrowing against their net worth. And I think that's what data centers are doing right now as well. Um, Data is the currency of our time. It's true. It's true. I've been getting a lot of calls and emails recently. Somebody leaked my data somewhere. I need to get a hold of one of those, erase your data off the internet places and see if I can do a collab with them, because I've been getting a lot of offers for loans for my business, which I think is silly. But yeah, no, data is absolutely where all the money is. Let's see. Is that the new server area? I'm used to having the rack behind you. Yeah. Um, so I'm sitting in my bed right now in my bedroom, because going out to where I normally stream gives me a lot of anxiety. We talked about that a little bit last week. I need to, the place is a disaster. It needs to be clean top to bottom. Like, I've got hardware everywhere. There are cans from previous, like drinking soda cans, that sort of stuff, from previous live streams. It's a disaster out there. And then in the last stream, we talked about possibly doing a live stream of me cleaning, and we could all just kind of do parallel play while I'm cleaning, you guys are cleaning, and we're all chatting and hanging out and having a good time, and keeping each other company while we're doing said cleaning. Um, but I don't know. It's definitely something I need to do, because my setup right now is kind of silly. I wonder if I could even show you. Let me see if I can do this. Do I have it on here? I don't. I'll be damned. I thought I'd have it on here. No. Give me a second, and I'll share the picture of what I just took. I'll share the picture I just took, so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Attach a photo. Attach that photo. Done. Oops, come on, don't do that. Oh man. Hopefully next year I'll cut personal cloud storage usage to 0, putting on an LTO drive long-term critical stuff, backups apart from that, what's running at home will work. I still think self-hosting is a small segment and they don't care. I tend to agree with you there. As far as, like, we're not quite enough of a threat to them just yet, but maybe one of these days we will be, and that would be actually kind of neat, to be a threat in that manner. Let's see here. Is this one? There we go. Yeah. So there we are. This is what I'm live streaming on right now. Just my laptop and an external monitor, and a webcam. And this works, but would definitely prefer to be out in the studio where it's, I don't know. This feels janky to me compared to what I'm used to. So, I wonder if you can notice anything on a cluster of repurposed Android phones, since they're pretty cheap for the hardware. You can already do a lot with Termux and ABD. I've seen people do stuff with that kind of a setup in the past. I think the biggest issue would be finding containers that are compatible with the CPU and that sort of thing. Bill Holmes says he's on a flight reading the latest newsletter. Awesome. AI won't go away, but this AI bubble will burst and it will be devastating. I certainly hope so. Like I genuinely hope so, because it I think we've talked about this a little bit in the past. I think it's very much kind of like the 2008 housing crisis that we had. I don't know if it affected the rest of the world, but it affected the United States pretty heavily. Um, and I'm hoping we have something similar where people keep borrowing too much and then their business goes bankrupt and then they have to liquidate those assets as part of the bankruptcy. I think you'll have to have a big chunk of money to get a hold of any of that liquidated hardware. But I think it would be good if we didn't have so many new data centers going up, and all of this AI stuff going on. I think it would be in everybody's best interest for people to pump the brakes on it a little bit until we can get some legislation in place for the data centers to have something in place to cover the cost of their electricity, to cover their cost of the water that they'll be using, and use some sort of have or implement something so they can reuse that water rather than effectively destroying it for the sake of human consumption. Um, right, and Colin says it's devastating financially, akin to the automotive financial industry bailouts in the previous years. Um, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I hope they don't get the bailout. Uh, I hope they don't get the bailout, and I think a lot of that's going to depend on who is in office when it happens, and who's whispering in their ear. And I don't mean for that to be a political statement. It could go either way, on either side. Um, so I would be curious to see how that would go. Brian Seattle says, "What up, freaks and geeks? Who went to DEF CON? I did not. That would have been fun. I just don't have the resources for that right now." Jason says the money is just flowing in circles between the big tech companies. We need one to pull out and deflate the bubble. Yep. Colin says, "I like the idea of group cleaning to straighten up my office. I've been on PTO all week, so I spent probably a total of 10 minutes in my office since last Friday. And your TrueNAS server has been down since then. I haven't done anything with it. That sucks, man. That would give me a lot of anxiety, I think. I didn't completely disconnect, but I've done very little digitally this week. Just opened my Unraid server to dust it out, and there was no dust. Holy cow. That's crazy. I can't imagine not having any dust. It's very dry here in Colorado, and the dust here is just bonkers. Um, just procured a Dell R620. That's cool. Small LLMs are growing too, like the Qwen 3.827B and Muse Glimmer 3B are smaller than 14 gigs, are not releasing much. It's definitely a thing. The future of AI isn't data centers, it's local LLMs. Yeah. Um, I've been doing a little bit with it, like I mentioned last week, I think, with the Truffle local self, or it's an amorphous blob that has a computer in it that lights up, and it's kind of neat. But it's a locally self-hosted AI, that I've been working on tweaking a little bit here and there, but I've been enjoying it. Hanabachi says, "Wait for legislation. Are you that delusional?" No, no, I'm not. I'm just. It would be nice if we could put something in place that would limit the number of data centers going up until we have the opportunity to put some things in place that make them more self-sustaining rather than passing on the cost of electricity and water usage and that sort of thing into the communities that didn't ask for those data centers to be there. Um, with what we've seen with at least with the United States government, so much of the people representing the country in the House and the Senate and whatnot are so old that they don't know. They just don't know, and they're at a point where they're not going to learn in any kind of a timely fashion, and we need to have a younger group of people in those seats um, who are more up to date on what's really going on in the world, rather than just being corporate Democrats and Republicans, because that's what a lot of them are these days. They say they're left leaning, they say they're right leaning, they say whatever, but really it's just a matter of who can fill their pocket the fastest is the way they're going to go, and I hate that. 625 is a good price for the 18 terabyte Exos. Yep, I agree. Metal Linux is here. I fear the governments will bail them out. I again, I think that's going to depend on who's in office at the time. I'll be curious to see what happens there. Governments like the UK government seem all in on AI. I blow out cat hair. Okay. Sadly, most of the new AI server tech isn't usable for home last unless you can handle the power and noise you want to fill your yeah, Collins. That's basically moratorium was the word I couldn't think of, but yeah, basically saying state and local governments putting moratoriums on building new data centers, and some places are until more research can be done. But a lot of them, like we've got a data center in Colorado Springs that's trying to go through, even though it's been voted on and people have been very against it, and they just keep pushing it forward anyway, even though people are very, very against it. Oh, let's see. Run great, need a lot of VRAM. Welcome back. I remember you had on one of your an older video on a website or app that monitors your internet speeds. Um, yeah, let me see what it was. If I could type, um, so I have speed test tracker. This is actually, I was thinking about doing a follow-up video on this since it's been a while. I wonder if we can actually see. Oh, that's just, I only have it running once a day. But we can see that my internet speeds are pretty consistent at about 2.3 gigs. Um, yeah, it's just speed test tracker. The independent AI companies, Anthropic Perplexity, will ultimately get swallowed up probably, and that'll suck because I actually kind of like um, what is it called? Claude. I like Claude quite a bit actually, and would like to see um, Claude stick around. But again, that's just my own personal preference. Um, Same in Utah with that Shark Tank guy. My local city is looking at a data center. I wonder if we really need another one in the world. Yeah, I agree with that. What's your favorite source of refurbed hard drives? It's Go Hard Drive on eBay. 100%. I bought all of my refurb drives from them, and I've never had an issue with them. I've chatted with them via email. They seem like a great group of people. But it's Go Hard Drive over on eBay is where I've bought refurb hard drives for years. Salem, Oregon tried to sneak a data center in, but word got out and the whole area rallied against it, and the city backpedaled hard. That's good. Yeah, Anthropic seems the most sane used loosely. Yeah. I use ChatGPT for the bulk of my AI use. I only use local AI like others said. Quinn is getting good. Mostly use ChatGPT, but Claude has its place. Yeah, Claude's actually the only one that I pay for. I pay for like the $20 a month package, and it does everything I need it to. So that's what I've been doing for a while. Forsaken is here. Glad to have you, man. Thanks for stopping by. And with 32 gigs of RAM. All right, let's see. Oops, no, close that. No. And I should have brought my mouse with me. That would have been really handy, rather than having to lean over here like this. I hang out with ChatGPT because it was the first one I used. I did some of that for a while. One of the things that I didn't like about ChatGPT is that it was anytime, and that maybe this was just me. Anytime I would ask it a question or respond to ChatGPT, it felt like it was trying to stroke my ego every step of the way. That's such a great question. It's so insightful. That's so good. Well done. Huh? And it's just like, dude, I don't want that. I'm not. I like a friendly interface. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want it to stroke my ego or whatever for the sake of stroking my ego. If I've had an interesting thought, that's fine. But I can promise you that not all of my thoughts are interesting. And ChatGPT thought I was the most interesting person in the world. And that started getting very, very old after a while. And Claude doesn't do that as much. It still does it some, but not nearly as much. See, Cake in a Cup is here. Cake in a Cup is here. Glad to have you. Server part deals is also good for refurbished hard drives. That's true. We looked at them a minute ago. Apparently, it still does a lot of the fluff, the stroking of the ego. Cake in a Cup says, cut the fluff, put that in the start of a chat, or put that in its memory. Yeah. Does anyone know of any good refurbished hard drives in the EU? I don't. Using ChatGPT for a while. I completely bailed for Claude. Yeah, that's what I did. In fact, even my Claude usage has gone down quite a bit recently since I got the truffle device. Because I'm trying to train the truffle at this point. And sometimes I use Claude to help me train the truffle device and the LLM that's on it. That said, all of my automations that I have run at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the morning are still run through Claude. A lot of that is like social media posting, and that sort of thing. All of that still happens through Claude because it's got a really great integration with my setup, and I don't want to rebuild it through RSS or through the fresh RSS and N8N automation system I've got. I spent like 2 weeks getting that to work the way I wanted through Claude, and I'll be damned if I'm going to rebuild it again. It was such a mind-numbing experience. There were days I just ran out of tokens while I was trying to figure stuff out, and I'd have to wait, until the following day for my tokens to refresh. So for the foreseeable future, I'll keep using Claude for that kind of stuff. But right now I'm trying to use the Truffle for my more day-to-day stuff, and that sort of thing. So Forsaken says, I just want the answer. It likes to add a bunch of BS to the reply, still use GPT, have the $20 plan. If it works for you, man, that's really the only thing that matters. Never used them, but they're good things. Yeah, AI sycophancy is stupid. I don't know why they do it. My own LLM is a bit more abrasive. It calls me out, insults me. Honestly, Lemon Zest, that's what I'm trying to get this this truffle to do. I wanted to check in with me regularly and just ask me questions or do follow-ups on things that I've asked it to do. I've asked it to in like the special instructions, basically like if you're familiar with Claude, is it Claude? Not Claude. OpenClaw. There we go. OpenClaw has something called a souls.md file that's basically special instructions and information about you, the user, and your relationship with OpenClaw. Um, my Truffle has something like that built into the software, and I've been using Claude to help me tweak that a little bit so that it's more personable, so that it reaches out more regularly, so that it doesn't just give me the answer and will kind of help put me in my place when I need to be put in my place. But again, that's all local that I'm trying to do right now. And Glenn's right; they do that so to make people want to come back. It's the same thing that Meta's being sued for right now. They're trying to make it addictive. And they're trying to make these services. In fact, they've got services out there where you can, have an AI girlfriend or boyfriend or partner or whatever, right? So they want it to be addicting so that you keep paying them the $20 a month or $50 a month or however much it is to have that digital partner. And I think that's kind of where we are. I think social media has made us less social, and it didn't take long for people to realize that they could replace human contact with AI servers, basically. See, Mr. Red Washington says you can give ChatGPT or Claude any system prompt or personality you want. Yeah, you just have to give it the instructions. One of the other issues I had, even with Claude, is that it will tend to latch on to things and keep going back and circling back to something I told it not to circle back to. I was trying to build. I think it was one of my automations. I was trying to build it, and I kept saying, look, this part is working and this isn't, but it kept trying to fix the part that was working, not the part that wasn't. And I had to check it a few different times before it was finally like, oh well, let's leave the part that's working alone and work on the thing that isn't working. And that probably ate up half my tokens for the day. Bill Holmes says 24 terabyte drives are now over $1,000. We saw some for some refurbished ones with low hours on them for $625 earlier. Managed to get a 32 gig card for 700 euros. That's not too bad. That is not too bad. You're a lead data scientist. Keep communication to that. No ego stroking. See, and what that's sorry, I've got this hair that keeps bugging me, and I can't tell if it's like a cat hair or what. Anyway, currently my Truffle, my self-hosted AI, is very cut and dry, very to the point, not a lot of personality to it at all. So I've been trying to work on building up a personality for it in its special instructions. Because I don't want just a direct back and forth. I want it to have some personality. And that's something that I've been struggling with quite a bit, is getting it to have some personality and reach out to me unprompted, do those sorts of things, check in with me throughout the day. I've got a couple of those scheduled, but I want it to do its own unscheduled check-ins as well. I want it to be more human-like for the sake of conversation. But again, I don't want it to just stroke my ego for the sake of stroking my ego. Least used for GPT is redundant tasks, researching on a project and stuff like that. I use Cloud to format and dispatch my messages into readable format for Obsidian. It's a good way to do it, I suppose. The problem that I have with my Obsidian setup is that all my stuff is encrypted and it can't decrypt it. So I'm not able to currently get Claude to work with Obsidian, at least not with the way I've currently got things set up. Still new when it comes to AI. It's hard to learn when it's moving so fast. I don't disagree with that. Like I use mine sort of agentically. I ask it to perform a task or to perform a task at a certain time every day, those sorts of things. There are people doing some crazy stuff out there with it. Like I played around with some image generation and some video generation and that sort of thing. When I first got my Alaris 1 with the Alaris operating system on it, I was able to do some video and picture generation stuff that turned out pretty well for what it was at the time. But you could definitely tell that it was 100% AI generated. Like you could absolutely tell. But that's because I'm not very good at building those systems the way a lot of people have just picked up and ran with it. And I'm super impressed with what some people have been able to do. Lemon Zest says mine even puts swears and insults in code comments. That's pretty funny. Speaking of Meta, has anyone seen the new AI commercial they've had going? We believe in people. They're doubling down on all their shenanigans. I haven't seen that yet. And I know I'm way behind on comments, but I talk a lot. I haven't seen that. I don't actually have like TV or cable. Like I've got my Plex server and that's it. So no commercials for the household here. But I believe that they're trying to pull some nonsense. It seems like some stuff they would do. Just using AI to research and teach me what I need to know about something. If you put personalities and stuff in there, it's going to end badly. That's fair. Claude has done that with me also, but I explicitly told it not to, and it's been good about that. I don't think social media made us less social per se, but the algorithms and not showing us anything from people we actually follow or our friends within our feeds. Yeah. I've developed a new hobby while I'm doom scrolling. Anything that if it's something I don't want to see right in this moment, I block the account. And in the last month, I've probably blocked 5,000 accounts on Facebook. Not because they were egregious or whatever, but because I didn't want to see that in my feed. And Facebook has kind of gone off the rails even before that, showing me some very red pill stuff, lots of goth girl AI thirst trap stuff, like stuff I've never looked up, stuff I've never been interested in, nothing I've ever Googled or researched. It's been just going wild on me with some of the stuff it's been showing me. So I just started blocking everything. And that's kind of cathartic some days. I think social media made it. I also go in and refresh its memories. I have a session where I just asked it to update what has been stored. Uh, yeah, anytime I update the instructions on my truffle, I go ask it, what do I just updated your instructions, what do they say? And I make sure that it can regurgitate them back to me, and if it can't, then I go back and I tweak it until it's able to be like, hey, you want me to do this? And I'm like, cool, yeah, let's do that. Yep, ads and AI slop indeed. Had to make ChatGPT stop talking to me like a teenager and using their slang. It pisses me off. I told it I was born in '75 and don't say that stupid shit. I've been pretty fortunate that it doesn't use the Zoomer language on me, which I'm very happy about. State facts only, no conversational openings or closings. Use bullet points. The one thing that I do um, when I ask Claude to do research for me, I make it give me all of its references, kind of like you would like if you're writing a paper, and you've got like the little numbers next your citations. That's what I was looking for. I make it cite all of its sources for any research that I have Claude do for me, and then I go validate those sources. But I always make Claude cite its sources, and if it can't, I make it go out and find something to validate what it just said. And if it can't do that, then I make it change whatever it was it tried to tell me, and then cite the source for that. Uh, do I just have a mini server that Claude hits to do stuff in Obsidian? It's basically an MCP server, and Claude wrote it for me. That's cool. Been inundated with right-wing propaganda lately on Facebook. Same. Pretty happy using RSS feeds for everything to avoid doom scrolling. Yeah. Cloud's very good about citing stuff, at least from what I've seen in my usage. Doesn't seem to just make stuff up for me. And that's been my experience as well. But again, I had issues where it would give me information, and I would go try to find that information and I wasn't able to find it. Or I would ask Claude, hey, where did you get that information? And it would be like, oh, I don't know where I found that. I just inferred it from something. Well, don't infer things. I need things cited so that I know that it's 100% accurate. And after doing that for a while, it got really good about just giving me what I asked for. Why are you using Facebook? Did you forget that they sell your data for political manipulation? I'm aware of that. But I also make sure that when I read a headline on Facebook, that I go do research on it. If it's a topic of interest to me that I think is important, I go do actual research. I don't just read the headline and hope for the best, and take it to heart. I will read the headline. I will read the article, depending on the source, and even that's getting rough these days. I will go cross-reference it in multiple other places as necessary so that I feel like I've got the full picture. So that's social media in a nutshell, though, is they're always going to put you in an echo chamber to the best of their ability. They're going to put you in an echo chamber to keep you isolated away from all of the information. Because that's how politics keeps us fighting each other. That's the whole goal with politics right now. Is it's not right versus left. It's the 1% versus the 99%. And people on both sides of that, of the left and the right, are going at each other, while the top 1% are running the world the way they want it run, and we're over here bickering with each other about shit that they've fed us that is deliberately inaccurate. It's a very well thought out game that they're playing with us. I'm fully aware of that. Maybe that's a tinfoil hat conspiracy, but it's one that I will super glue to my head if need be, because it's one that I truly believe. I like some of the funny stuff on Facebook, and so do I sometimes. But also, it's how I keep in touch with certain members of my friends, my family, who aren't around. Like, I'm not going to ask, you know, my less tech savvy friends to sign up for something that I'm self-hosting, when I can just use Google Messenger or Facebook Messenger or something like that to more easily keep in touch. In a NAS or a 4-base server for storage and data hosting, any suggestions? Honestly, Brian, to answer your question about needing a server or a NAS or something, I would look at a TerraMaster, a TerraMaster NAS, because with an Intel processor, if you can find one, they're really easy to install whatever operating system you want on them. They're reasonably priced. Even if you keep the operating system that's on it, they didn't pull the same shit that Synology did a while back. You can throw whatever drives you want in there. You can do RAIDs, you can do JBODs. There's all kinds of stuff you can do on TerraMaster devices that I really like. So that would be my suggestion. Yep, we are the product. Jason Budney says, most of my family and people I know are on Facebook. That's how we keep in touch. It outweighs the BS. And that's just it, right? Like, I've got, like, I'm originally from Idaho, so all of my friends and family are there, minus, the ones that are here. But I still want to keep in touch with those people from Idaho. And Facebook is just an easy way to do that. So that's why I stay on Facebook. The amount of information that will not hit your Facebook feed is more important than what they feed you. I don't disagree with that. It's rich white men convincing poor white men that non-white men are taking everything from them. Yep, pretty much. Okay, so Nightmare says leave races out of it. I agree, but also, Glenn's not wrong for pointing that out, right? Like, it's us versus them, whether it's American versus immigrant, whether it's red versus blue, left versus right. It's us versus them. And there are so many of us and so many of them that while it's an uncomfortable topic, race is one of those them topics that has been being force fed to us across the internet. I don't like to push friends and family to certain things, right? That is politics in the US, though. It's true, and it sucks. Have you seen England? Have you seen France? Have you seen Australia? I mean, I flew through England once, but I've got enough going on trying to keep my head sane with everything going on here that I don't really keep up on world politics all that much. Aurelius D, glad to have you here. Nightmare says it's rich versus poor, not a race war. And I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you, since there's an entire movement of people who are against immigrants, specifically immigrants from Mexico. specifically brown immigrants. So there's absolutely a race point to this us versus them. It's not just rich versus poor. It's also white versus brown, unfortunately. It's been white versus black for a really long time. So it's always an us versus them. It's just periodically the them changes to something new for a while. It's been in the politics of the US since before the US. It's a way to divide and conquer the masses. I just found out that just found out about Facebook Marketplace. That's funny. Then you're part of the problem because you're white. Yep, I am. I absolutely am. It's why I don't take a big stand on things, because I don't have anything to add to the struggles of women. I don't have anything to add to the struggles of Latinos or blacks. I can't do anything other than support those people to the best of my ability. But if I try to say, well, I'm offended on behalf of women, I'm offended on behalf of Hispanics or black people, then I don't know their struggles other than what they've told me. And I can't be their voice unless they ask me to be their voice. So yeah, as a white man, I am part of the problem, and I'm fully aware of that. And it's why I shut my fucking mouth when it comes to these things most of the time, because there's absolutely a race aspect to a lot of it. Hey, Nighthawk, glad to have you here. We have a Reform Party in the UK, and the right-wing media is spreading anti-immigrant Muslim rhetoric. Really says, I haven't seen you in a long time. Glad to see you following, or glad to see you've been following for a long time. I got into self-hosting because of you several years ago. Um, it we often get into political conversations on here periodically. It will pass, and we will go back over to talking about tech. Um, there were just some statements that were made that I felt that I needed to clarify my stance on. Um, so, and I feel like I have done that at least to the degree that I can at this point. My plan today was to dig through r/homelab and r/self-hosting and kind of see what was going on there. But often we tangent onto other things for a while. Oh, let's see. I saw the thing about Count Benface. It would have been hilarious if he had won. I don't know much about the backstory on him, but I thought that was pretty funny. Master Billy Quizboy says, Dave, good to see you broadcasting. Are you running any local LLMs? If so, what's your hardware setup? I am running something called a truffle. It's a let me pull it up. Wow, Ben Face got 26% of the vote. That's pretty good, really. AI. No. Hold on. Eyes. All right, so I'll show you the hardware that I am running currently for my AI. This is their website. We have to scroll. And it's this thing. Basically, it is this thing right here on the table that looks kind of like an amorphous jelly bean. Um, and what's interesting about it is that it only has one wire that can plug into it. It's the power wire. Everything's done over Wi-Fi. There are no USB ports for it. There's nothing like that. It's got an SDK. Put in a new tab. I can kind of see how it looks a little bit like a MetaQuest from that angle. I could see that. Um, yeah, this is what I'm using right now, and um, it's still early in development as far as the software is concerned. In the grand scheme of things, it's a relatively small team out of California that's building it. So basically, you've got like the shell in the bottom, and then there's this hardware in the middle. Um, Everything is hosted locally. Nothing goes off device. Um, and I just chat with it, and I can have it post on social media. Via my posties setup. I can have it do research for me. I can have it do reminders for me. There we go. That's what it looks like, more or less. But this is my agentic AI server, basically. And it just sits on my desk, and that's more or less what it looks like. Um, currently, um, currently it's kind of expensive. I think it's like $2,500, but you got to log in order to do that. I don't like this. I think they've done this on purpose to kind of push people away until they're ready to actually go to market. I don't know that they're quite ready to go to market yet. They've got a Windows app, they've got an iOS app. Everything is still in beta, and I'm helping them do some beta testing at this time. Um, so anyway, I'm really looking forward to them getting an Android app for it so I can use it on my phone. Right now, I've got it set up on the computer in the living room that I've got set up in there, and the laptop I'm on right now, so I can jump back and forth between them as necessary. Um, and I've got it connected to things like one of my Gmail accounts, one I don't necessarily care about, so it can check my emails for me. It can write emails for me. It can connect to my Posties instance through MCP. Um, so it's still in early development. It's still very much in beta, and I'm part of their Discord to help them when I run into things or have ideas, that sort of thing. Um, oh yeah, the app is called Symphony. I don't know if there's yeah. So Apple, Intel, Apple Silicon, Windows, and Linux, and then there's kind of an onboarding process, um, and it can connect to a few different social medias and read social media. There's certain ways you can post to social media. Again, it's um, it's still early development and it's got a ways to go at this point. But I'm excited to see what it's going to be able to do based on um, what they've said the direction that they want to take it. So I'm definitely interested to see where that goes. Um, Yeah, good solutions are over $1,000 at least, it seems. Yeah, like the Alaris one, um, I don't even know where Alaris one device. Do oof, that price has gone up dramatically. I thought it was like $2,000 when I reviewed it, I thought. And that's unfortunate. um that's wow. I didn't realize the Alaris one was $4,000. It didn't used to be, but again, with the price of everything, that's a lot. Like that almost makes me want to put it back to use for AI because it's got 96 gigs of VRAM it's got 96 gigs of system RAM and 24 gigs of VRAM. Um, and I can use my laptop for other things. Like that's insane. I didn't I didn't realize that the price had gone up that much since I got my hands on it. That's crazy. Colin says I found that where did it go? Most LLMs don't have a decent enough memory retention. That's honestly one of the things that I really liked about OpenClaw is that it you can have it have more memory by storing things um, in the souls.md file and it just keep it and just have a constant conversation going. Um, OpenClaw was really good about that. Now that I've been using the Alaris, or not the Alaris, it's on my screen still, the Truffle for a while, I've gotten more familiar with and more comfortable with just a single stream of consciousness versus having multiple conversations like you might with Claude um, or whoever else, right? But I've got like, I typically will start a new chat for a new topic when I'm dealing with Claude just so that I can keep things better organized. And that's how I've always done it. So going over to Truffle, where everything is just a single it's like you and I are just having a single conversation. We may change topics a dozen times, but it's still the same conversation. I think it took me getting into Truffle to start feeling comfortable with that. So I think now at this point, I'd probably be able to put the hard drive back into the Alaris and do something similar with OpenClaw more comfortably than I did before, where I wanted multiple conversational windows to be open. But that's because I'm very scatterbrained and I like to have a chat for each different topic. And that's how I've handled Claude and that sort of thing for a really long time. Pretty sure you can build a whole desktop and probably be even better. I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting idea for Forsaken. But remember, it's got 96 gigs of system RAM. It's got 24 gigs of VRAM with a 1590 mobile in it. It's got an Intel Ultra 9 in it. I don't know if you could build all of that for $4,000 as far as a desktop unit is concerned. RTX 90. I mean, an RTX 5090 is going to run you $4,000. Yeah, come on, verify me. Also, we've got to remember that it's got 24 gigs of VRAM. So the 16 gig card isn't isn't the same thing. So let's look at 5090. Let's look at 24 gigabytes. Price. Let's get the 24 gigs back in there. Yeah, like I don't know that you're gonna find. Yeah, like all of these pre-owned are probably just for parts where you're getting scammed. So I don't know that you could build a comparable desktop system for $4,000. I don't know that it's possible. Different chats that want to change topics. I also have projects dedicated to specific focuses, like a specific project for homelab, home assistant, and that's just it, Collins. Reading what you've said there, as far as having different chats for different topics. Each chat starts fresh, basically, with no knowledge of the other conversations unless you've enabled that. So that's why it can often feel like you don't have the memory that I think you're talking about, as far as being able to reference other things. If you kept everything in one chat, I feel like you might have a better experience. I just hate doing it that way. But I may be misunderstanding what you're talking about, and I will own that. Night Hawk says maybe those running local LLMs should look into the AI cache server that Raid Owl made a video on recently. Forsaken says, damn, that 5090 is that much is crazy. I'm still using a 1080 Ti. Yep. The price is fair. The Rampocalypse and GPU prices are going to be crazy for a while. That's absolutely correct, Master Billy Quizboy. That is, yeah, no, the prices are stupid right now. I'm just glad all my hardware is in now. I just need to hope I don't have to have a hard drive go down, right? Yeah, you can run out of tokens in a single long chat. There's that as well. Separate chats resets that. That's a good point. I just always have a hard time finding the chat that I need to go back to. That's one of the issues that I've run into several times. I just use Cloud AI for my vibe coding, really. Yeah, I haven't done any vibe coding in a long time. Switch topics. And for me, trying to switch topics in ChatGPT messes it up. So I usually start a new chat if I change what I'm talking about, because it'll keep referencing the first thing or question. That's absolutely something I've run into. And then you got to start a new chat from scratch to get back to where you were, and that's super frustrating too. But sometimes that's just what you got to do. See, I'm going to share some links. I haven't tried it, built any of it yet, but there are many solutions folks have tried for creating memory. Interesting. Speaking of 1590s, I purchased a WireView Pro 2 out of paranoia. $4,000 is crazy to replace one that you picked up at MSRP. Yeah, I had to disable being able to share links in chat because we were getting too spammed. Um, yeah, Hermes is just a kind of a rebuild of OpenClaw, I think. I looked at Hermes and I didn't like it as much as OpenClaw, but that very well could have been due to lack of experience. Because again, when we get down to it, I'm not super experienced with AI, even though I host some and I've used some hosted AIs. I'm still not nearly as experienced with it as a lot of people out there are. Um, so I just want to see something, and I don't want you to see what I'm doing. DeepSeek harness changes things. It's kind of funny. By the time they finally tell me if I'm picking up the load today, I've made it through the whole stream. It's possible. So green, self-hosted AI. I have to get more proficient. I host it, but I don't know how to apply its potential yet. Harnesses and such. And Numa, I'm very much in that same boat, if I'm completely honest. Um, order. It's fine. Yeah, this is what I wanted to see. Currently, the truffle is $2,500. That's what I wanted to see, but I wanted to get through the login first. Yeah, so about $2,500 for the truffle device right now. Hermes is kind of what OpenClaw could be if OpenClaw wasn't vibe coded. That's an interesting take, and I think I've heard somebody say something similar to that in the past. Um, but I haven't used Hermes all that much, so I'm trying to get a better center on this. Of course, I don't have this stupid app open. What is that? That's stupid. Do yeah. Oops. There, that's a little better. Let's see. I tried Hermes in a VM and didn't even last as long as Dave did his stream. Yeah, that was a really frustrating stream. But again, I think a lot of that has to do with my lack of experience when it comes to setting up these different AI models and that sort of thing. Um, I still use Cloud DeepSeek because it kicks ass, because I have skill issues. Nothing wrong with having skill issues, especially if you're willing to acknowledge them and learn to work around them or learn to correct them or whatever. Used OpenClaw for a bit, but I couldn't get it to do my load formatting consistently, so I switched to Claude. That's fair. And again, that's one of the other things is I genuinely don't feel that self-hosted AI is as efficient or as proficient as hosted solutions, whether it's Claude or Gemini or whatever. They seem to have the upper hand in that regard. Um, and I don't know if it's just the models that they're running in conjunction with the hardware that they've got access to or whatever, but there's definitely a discrepancy as far as what you can get from a hosted perspective versus what you can self-host. And I'm really hoping that at some point we are able to kind of bridge that gap, because I feel like I would be more into it if I could have results like I get with Claude with the device I've got sitting on my desk. Um, let's see. Hey, Collins, thanks for sending that over. I'll take a look at it later. Um, um, just take some learning and some time. I agree with that. Just been focusing on securing channels for communicating securely in this country, and I think we should all do better about chatting securely, no matter where we are. I think Hermes is more secure than OpenClaw, and that's the one reason it's gaining traction. I mean, it sounds like it. I think you're pretty spot on there. Not trying to make a career out of setting up AI. Agreed. Use Hermes agent and recently moved to self-hosted LLM, and so far for what I use it for, it works. Still also use Claude for larger tasks. Local LLMs make sense if you were to run uncensored ones or were concerned about privacy. I agree with that. That is something I should mention about the Truffle, is that it is an uncensored LLM. I just don't remember which one. But I was told by several people in the chat is that it is an uncensored LLM, which I appreciate. Learn RAG instead of face rolling. Pay to play AI. I've heard about RAG. I don't know anything about it. It was something that while I was trying to set up Hermes and OpenClaw, I saw RAG pop up a few times, but I'm not familiar with it. It's one or the other. I use some for local housekeeping tasks, frontier models for heavy lifting, like customs, and a mix of cloud and hosted open weight models for in between. I think that's kind of where I am. I use different models and different things, or different services for different projects. Ethan J. Smothernan, sure I butchered that, says, how's it going? Glad to have you here. I feel like once I get the settings dialed in on my Ryzen 5 Pro with 32 gigs memory, I can run something usable for sure. Currently, when I send a prompt, it takes long, but it's not using 100%. Hermes for me was more stable than OpenClaw, so I migrated to Hermes. I have 6 specialists, Hermes agents doing very specific roles. Think hiring different staff members in the business, and that's what I've always been curious about with agents, is how to do that. And again, it's because I don't know enough about it, but I've always found it interesting that people are able to set up different agents like that and have each one perform a different task, and then have the agents communicate between themselves to complete jobs without human intervention. I've always thought that was really interesting, and I would love to learn how to do that. First time watching, glad I caught a live. Just bought a 7900 XTX to play with some home AI. Your videos have helped me self-host loads of things, so thank you. Well, Mr. Steve, thanks for joining. I'm glad to have you here. I don't have enough tasks for AI to worry about setting up a local setup. That's fair. Haven't dipped my fingers into the agent world, redoing my entire home lab from scratch here. Wow, dive with a fin. That doesn't sound like fun at all. I would not want to have to reset up my entire home lab right now. But part of me also would really like to reset up my entire home lab right now. So each time I try to code setup agents, I'm running into the context windows of the model that I want to run. Interesting. Savag, glad to have you here, man. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. Super appreciate you. Forsaken says, I don't ever want to redo that mess of mine that I have. Yeah. mine is all kind of jumbled together and it works, and I don't want to screw that up. I am very, very worried that I would screw that up somehow. For punishment, or suckers for punishment sometime, agreed. Has anyone looked into Unsloth or looked into MOE models? I've never heard of either of those things, Mr. Steve, unfortunately. What are you wanting to change in your home lab? I would like to consolidate it better. I've got I think I've got 4 NASAs. I think only one of them is running. Maybe 2 are running. I've got 2 Zima cubes and I've got the HL15. I would like to go back and just rebuild everything differently, I think. I would like to have one of my Zima cubes just be a TrueNAS server rather than being a virtualized service. Because doing the pass-throughs wasn't ideal for the hard drives because the Zima cube only has a single backplane, and I didn't want to pass through the entire backplane, so I had to pass through individual drives. That wasn't ideal, especially because I screwed up some of it, and it took me hours to realize that I had passed through 2 drives twice. So it took me a really long time to spin up all of my drives before I realized that I'd screwed that up. I'd like to put most of my services, like I would put all of my RStack and Plex on the TrueNAS server, and then all of my other stuff I would set up as a low-powered server using network storage instead of onboard storage. There's just some different things that I would like to do, but I don't want to take everything down and rebuild it because it sounds awful. But that's kind of the gist of it. Too many machines, so I got a better idea of what I needed. It was easier to just nuke everything. I left my NAS though. Just installed the agents and spoke with him as briefing a staffer. I did try using Telegram when I was using OpenClaw. Honestly, I would like to have somebody who's very proficient with OpenClaw and self-hosting AI. Like I would like somebody to teach me how to do it. Kind of a one-on-one kind of thing. I think that'd be the best way for me to learn it. Also, so happy you're back. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I went through a really rough patch that I'm just, I think, coming out of the back end of for right now. I'll have to see how it goes. Master Billy, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you being here. Redoing the firewall and the entire ingress routing and security. So while I'm at it, I'm rebuilding it all. That's a lot. You can make a team of SMEs, solution architects, DevOps, front-end, back-end devs, reporting to distinguished engineer. It's amazing. It sounds pretty cool. I would love to have something like that. But I would genuinely need somebody to hold my hand through it, at least for a little bit, in order for me to feel comfortable. Because I'm sure I would screw something up. I could get a halfway decent local AI server running here for me, then I would fully automate weekly builds of the apps that I'm making and tie it into everyday tasks with Home Assistant. I'd like to eventually do agents for monitoring my home lab to let me know when issues or tasks need taken care of. then give the agent the okay to do it for my, yeah, I would like to be able to do that too. Started my small home lab from scratch with an Ubuntu server. Now only run a handful of things. Yeah, I don't run nearly as much as a lot of people think I do, given the topics of the channel. Um, I run very little, if I'm completely honest, in the grand scheme of things. But even with that said, there are some things I'd like to move around a little bit to kind of lighten the workload on some different things. Thought about switching all of my containers on Unraid into compose stacks in Dockhand rather than Unraid app store templates, and that lasted about 10 minutes. Yeah, I don't blame you. What the hell? I jumped. I have no idea where I was. Oh, there. Maybe? Recently redid everything in Komodo. All of my compose files are now synced to my Codeberg repo. It's great. I've heard of people doing that sort of thing. I'm not ready for it. As far as kind of the CI/CD thing, I'm just not that guy. Like to downsize, like literally shrink the size of my home lab. Take a look. Then ask Claude to write a tutorial. I've done that. That's how to do it. I use Clause, my web scraper, then DeepSeek harness to distill the AI info. Then if I need a Docker container spun up, we'll make a YAML from there and review and deploy. Sounds like a decent setup. Hey, I'm in a rut. I think a lot of us are, if that helps any. I sort of. I've just been dealing with some other stuff. Been going to therapy like twice a week, changing up some meds to try to help me get unstuck. Was looking for a different type of therapy that I'm in a holding pattern on that I've got to wait to see if that's going to happen. Maybe you could do an AI user group like the Twit network do with their members area. Plus, they show on their YouTube after the fact. Metal Linux, that's an interesting idea. We'll have to talk about that in Discord. I'm curious about more information on that. My 4 terabyte NVMe RockPi NAS has been running fine for about 6 months or so. Replaced the Raspberry Pi 516 with a Rock 5 I'm using now. Now I regret not selling the Pi, or waiting to sell the Pi 5, I bet. Why does it do that? I have 3 Proxmox nodes. There's a little tickle in the back of my head telling me to flip everything upside down and go Kubernetes. I am not ready for Kubernetes, I can say that. Run only a Zima board 2 and RPI 5, Unraid NAS, my DL380 Gen 9 with Windows VMs for lab work and testing at work. Spent the last couple of years shrinking my home lab to all mini PCs and NUCs. The only thing there's a full server is TrueNAS. And that's kind of what I've been considering doing. Like I really like my Zima Cube, but I think I'm pushing it to some of its limits. My IO wait times are pretty bad sometimes, and I'd really like to offload that to another mini PC. I've got a couple of them that I could offload and kind of rearrange some things if I wanted to spend some time doing that. I just got to do it, and that's the problem. I've got a couple of B-Link ME Pros that I would probably move everything to, just so I could more easily put Proxmox on it, and then not do like a high availability thing, but just have the 3 separate nodes that I can move things between as necessary. Is I think kind of the direction I would like to go with those those B-Link ME Pros, because I really like the aesthetic of them. I just need to take the time to do it. Maybe that'll be a live stream one of these days. One of the major issues I have with Hermes and OpenClaw is they're designed to be accessed via messaging apps. Chat apps, however, aren't designed for agents. Yeah, that was one of my big issues. Was having to use WhatsApp to communicate, and I didn't like that. All I run are mini PCs, 5 in total, and 1 laptop. You work with what you got. Yeah, 100%. I don't hate that setup at all. Yeah, I think if I were to redo anything, I would move. I would move all of my services to a couple, probably the ME Pros, and then do do network storage for them. Yeah, the brain can be a real bitch sometimes. No arguments here. Mini PCs. Way to go with the prices of electricity. I got 4 waiting for that project as well. Yeah. Yeah, Kubernetes goes against the KISS philosophy. I agree with that. All the stuff I've cobbled together works. I don't need to do something else as challenge. Yeah. Hermes now has a desktop app. That's interesting. I would be more likely to use Hermes if it had a desktop app. If I could chat with all of the different agents via a desktop app, I would more Hermes desktop app. Switch back over to here. Desktop app, Hermes agent. It's in the app. Is it a Windows app, or is it just, or do you have to be running Linux on that? Hermes AI for Mac and Windows. Is it this one? Oh yeah, see, something like that. Something like that would be a lot better. The Nouse, damn it, the Nouse research. Yeah, so it's this one. Yeah, I would have to dig so much more into this. And again, the problem that I have is I've only got an 8 gig GPU that I'd be able to use, and it wouldn't be good, I don't think. I feel like for me to do that sort of thing, I need something more powerful um, that I can um, that I can use. So I think probably for right now, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Again, I would like to be able to switch over to something more local, more powerful. I just don't have the hardware for it right now. Um, for local models, you could use the Alaris. The problem with using the Alaris for local models is that I'm currently using it as my Windows desktop system right now, um, and I could probably figure out some way to load AI into that and run local AI that way. But I just honestly hadn't considered it since I've been using the the truffle for the last month or so, and I've been spending a lot of time getting it tweaked the way I want it. Um, I could probably use LM Studio on it. I just haven't. Um, I feel like we've talked about LM Studio. LM. Oops. Negate card will get you Quinn 3.5 DeepSeek R18B, that plus RAG, and you're cooking with 8 gigs. Just like the skill set currently, more accurately, I haven't given it an honest go. And that, honestly, Numa, that's where I am too. I haven't given it an honest go. And like I said, there's a lot of people out there that make it just sound super easy, and it might be, but I haven't. I don't know if maybe it's because my brain doesn't work that way, or what the case is. Um, but yeah, I haven't given it um, enough of my own personal time and effort to really get comfortable with any of it. So. Um, Agent for open models, natively local, built for creativity, work, and code. Imposter syndrome's a bitch. No argument. Maybe I should give this a try. Yeah, super easy is a relative term. I agree with that 100%. Use Google's search AI to talk out your idea. Use search AI to read your logs. It's really good at it. Run agents in a container. Host agents on a Pi 8 gig and T40. I consider DNS super easy, but I know that's an unusual thing to say. I mean, I think we've all got our things that we think are super easy that a lot of people don't. Our brain's less spongy these days, so learning all this AI is hard. Yeah, I agree with that. And two of the meds that I'm on have made it even harder for my brain to not be, or for my to get what I need out of it. So I've been making changes, and hopefully soon I'll be able to make further changes that will make things even better. But kind of one step at a time while one of these meds flushes out of my system. But that's going to take upwards of 3 weeks. So luckily I'm a week and a half in, so that's good. DNS is easy until it isn't. Yeah. Let's thank you for the NPX and Cloudflare video. It was a perfect explanation. Well, Sabag, I'm glad the video was super helpful. I really appreciate that. Been in the tech industry for 20 years. I work for a very big AI related company, and I still feel like I'm ages behind, so don't worry about it. That's exactly it. It still gets you every now and then. Yeah. I consider DNS super easy because I asked Google search AI to configure AdGuard for me to stop the lag. Backing a 53-foot trailer in a spot 6 units on each side is super easy. Dude, some of those, I've seen some of those parking a 53-foot trailer videos, and some of those people are amazing at being able to park in some abstract angles with no room on either side. That's that is true skill. Peter's here. Glad to have you, man. Says happy Sunday from a rainy Montreal, Canada. "90% of my job is to know more than most of the people I work with in my group." Yeah, I believe that to be true. I can't get Home Assistant working, but I have agents who work with me in my business. My main agent helps me remember. Always DNS. You make that one change that you think is insignificant. Yeah. Yeah, that one insignificant change can be with the one thread holding everything together. Oh man. I can say sitting on a bed for a long period of time is not ergonomic. It's not DNS. It can't be DNS. It was DNS. It always is. Yeah. I have Forsaken. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. Appreciate you. So I'm over here reading about this LM Studio and looking at the pricing on it. And I am confused. Use local LLMs and voice transcription of your own machine. No data ever leaves your device. Powered by LM Studio Runtime. Bionic Agent. Run the latest local LLMs using Llama CCP and MLX. State-of-the-art on offline voice transcription. Web search tool. LM link for up to 5 devices. Well, now I'm curious about this because I think the device that I'm on right now has an 8 gig. Oops. Has an 8 gig video card or GPU in it. Yeah, it's 8 gigs dedicated. Yeah, I'm installing it here on this just to see because I'm on the Lenovo laptop right now. Frog Wizard says, DB, really appreciate you. Look forward to more interactions. Well, I really appreciate that. I've been trying to do a live stream again. I did one, obviously, right now. I did one last week. I'm going to try to do more. I think the next one we're going to do will be a parallel play, basically, where I'm going to clean the studio and have a cell phone set up for video that I can move around, and we can just work on different sections of the room together. Because it's I need friends to help me get through that one. The studio is a mess, and it makes me sick to even go through there, and I start shutting down. All right, Nighthawk, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. I'll chat with you in Discord. LM Studio is great for local model hosting, but not for being an agent. Been some time since I used mine. Maybe they added new features that do agent stuff. Interesting. Finish. Oops. Welcome to LM Studio Bionic, AI agent that can code, create, or edit documents, help you find anything, or help you get anything done. Natively local. Brian, Seattle, thanks for stopping by. Glad to have you here for a while. Natively local LLMs and offline voice transcription powered by the LM Studio runtime. Documents and code. Bionic can create, edit, and understand files. Use it for your work and coding projects. Frontier open models. Use the latest Frontier open models for your most ambitious and complex work. Built for privacy. When you run local, nothing ever leaves your device. Cloud models are ZDR by default. I don't know what that means, but it would probably be local only anyway. So create a project. Live stream. Allow coding. Let Bionic run commands in a folder on your computer. Oh, you're probably right. Thank you, Metal Linux. Zero data retention. Documents, use folder, create. Choose a model. Interesting. So everything is just this Codex style app nowadays. Codex, Hermes, LM Studios, Cursor, list goes on. Probably, I think the goal is to make it easy or easier for more people to use these services. So they're all going to start looking very, very similar, I think, just for an easier onboarding process. Can I do that? That's good. Bring this over to here. Whoa, nope, not quite there. Interesting. They all use the latest models to build the website. Yeah, there's basically one boilerplate that a lot of them are using, again because it's easy to use, and it's a low barrier to entry for that sort of thing. I want you to tell me about the content creator who goes TV tag. Oops, got to choose a model first. Get local models. I think a 27B model is going to be too much. Because I'm only dealing with a very small amount of VRAM here. Download. Font size 27B. It's a family of binary and ternary Qwen 3, 6 27B models. Okay, let's look up Gemma 4. Gemma 12 4B quantized. So then I'm guessing it would be this Gemma 4 12B is the quantization aware training version aims to keep quality close to bfloat 16 while using much less memory. Well, let's try that. Of course, I'm doing this on Wi-Fi, so it's going to take forever. That sucks. Well, I may have to just do this on, oh, there it goes. Yeah, 9. Yeah, I may have to just do this on my other machine that is got more VRAM and a 2.5 gig connection. Because this is going to take like half an hour, and I don't think we all want to sit here for half an hour while this does its thing. Yeah, this is going to be. Hey Ben, how you doing, man? Glad to have you stop by. We've just been kind of chatting about life, the universe, and everything today. So that's just kind of where we are. We started looking at LM Studio, but it's going to take a really long time to download on this system because I'm live streaming and trying to download a 7 gig file, and it's not going quickly. Live's doing a little better. My brain's doing a little better. We've got me on something to help slow my brain down a bit. That's different from the two things we were on before, because they weren't doing it for me, and I was having a lot of issues. So I've been trying to just do some kind of lazy live streaming, just chatting and hanging out, that sort of thing, and just seeing what's going on in the world and getting people's opinions on things. 75 degrees with a breeze isn't too bad at all, I would say. Looks like we've got another storm rolling in. I can kind of see out the window, and it's very cloudy out there, and I'm excited about that. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to do this on my other machine. This just is going to take too long. There you go, one day at a time. Got a new job, so feeling better. That's awesome. Congrats on the new job, Ben. That's amazing. Well done. That's very, very cool. Oh, man. All right. Well, I'm going to dig into this LM Studio thing, I think, a little bit later on my other machine and just see what I can do with it. Definitely be curious to see if I can do anything with it, I guess, is the long and the short of it. 57 degrees Fahrenheit and getting colder. Summer is over. Man, that must be nice. I appreciate you, Ben. Really do. But yeah, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up. Like I mentioned earlier, sitting on the bed like this isn't the most ergonomic. Ouch. And I'm gonna go try to decompress a little bit. This has been very helpful. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me and chatting today. Even if things got a little off the rails there for a bit, I really do appreciate you. Yeah, I think we've been at it for a couple hours. I'm gonna go grab something to drink, maybe something to eat, and just kind of relax a little bit. Maybe I'll get out whatever that guitar game is that lets you use real guitars, and maybe I'll play some bass for a while. I don't know, man. But it's been good. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And oh, that's stupid. That's what happened there. Sorry, just realized. But yeah, I'm gonna go. Hopefully, you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I'm going to try to get a video out this week. I'm going to try real hard. And I'll talk to you guys here again, hopefully here real soon. So have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon.